Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Sebastian Ryder, and you tapped into another episode of Cut Different TV. And we got somebody very special in the building, somebody that does it all, hailing from Pittsburgh. But before I get into who our guest is today, make sure you hit that big red button that says subscribe under whatever screen you watching this on. And hopefully it's a TV screen because you watching Cut Different TV. But without any further ado, we got my brother Benji from Spillage Village in the building. Singer, songwriter, bassist, music, so many different hats that you wear, and I like the hat you got on today too, man. Welcome to Cut Different TV, man.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, man. So you're on tour right now.
Yes, sir.
Feel me? So we were able to catch you. You just did a show at Bowery Showroom?
Yep.
How was that, man? What's tour been like for you?
The tour has been great. It's the best place to get like real time conversion, really see where you're at as far as, your music and ability to capture an audience, showmanship, the whole nine. So like it's a good benchmark test, but also it's just fun to perform.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? New York is a great place to perform at, and it was actually like my first time performing like an actual show in New York. Like, and it was amazing. It was an amazing night. Crowd was amazing. Black Odyssey for their headline set was amazing. Asha was amazing. So it's a good night, top to bottom.
That's fire, man.
Yes, sir.
And so being in music now for as long as you've been in music and, wearing all these different hats and being a part of these different roles, like what is tour like from an artist perspective, being the artist versus being, what's it called? A supporting cat, like when you were on tour with Earth Gang and you were doing the bassist.
Yeah.
Like what was that? What's the difference like?
I would say the obviously biggest difference is I don't have to worry about my own music. You know what I mean? I prep and play the same thing over and over and over again. When I was, the bassist for Earth Gang, and it was a lot less pressure. I was a part of someone's production, right, and someone's show production to being the lead of essentially a production. And so the type of prep is just a little bit different. But honestly, it's all the same. Like you're there to put on a show, and sometimes I'm either asking people to remember my stuff versus like helping fans like reconnect with their favorite artist's music. But either way, it's fun. I enjoy both sides of it.
And so early on, right, like growing up in Pittsburgh, right, like I remember obviously the Steelers, right?
Of course.
Obviously.
Of course.
But when Wiz Khalifa dropped Black and Yellow, you know what I'm saying? That was when I was like, okay, bet. Like, I guess Pittsburgh is kind of, you know what I'm saying, doing something. And being from North Carolina, right? Like, we just kind of, we look at these other cities and we, as aspirational places.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Pittsburgh? And are you a Steelers fan?
Die hard.
You gotta be.
Shout out Justin Fields, got that dub yesterday.
That's like religion.
It is. It's religion. It's blood. It's a rite of passage. It's everything. It's the Steeler way, bro. Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Pittsburgh and like musical influences early on? Like,
Pittsburgh's a real jazz town, right? Have a large thumbprint in the jazz fabric of America. With like Duke Ellington, and really the list goes on and on and on. Billy Strayhorn, so having like a hip hop. Any type of hip hop aspirations is like interesting coming from Pittsburgh, especially back then, because it's like, why? We have real players here. We have, musicians. We have that type of fabric and makeup of the city, and so hip hop never really got like a fair kind of like a fair shake within the city itself. It was just like, hey, do that thing over there, it's cool. So when Wiz came out. Dropped like Prince of the City 2, and the city was just like electric. Like it was a really cool time. I was in high school at that time. But it was a really cool time to like be a fan. You know what I mean? And it was cool to like show other Pittsburgh artists and aspiring artists that like, oh, it's very possible to break through coming from here. And he really broke ground with that. Honestly, like for how gifted the city of Pittsburgh is, and the many avenues that people take to like reach their dreams. Pittsburgh has a really special kind of talent that I really think it'll find its pay dirt for real. But as far as me, I mean, I was just inspired by everything that I saw, could hear And it just made it all possible.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so, how long were you involved in the creation of music before you linked up with the guys?
I mean, I've been a musician my whole life, basically since the age of 3. I was playing in church choirs, concert bands, the whole nine.
Mm.
Um, and so realistically, I didn't start like producing music until around 18 or so. But pretty much been around music my entire life. My parents are singers and musicians. My sisters are singers and musicians. My brother is a DJ and a producer and a musician. Like
Mhm.
music was basically like our birthright with
Mm.
our family name essentially. But so I was always around it, and then once I just started producing it on my own and trying my hand at that, I kind of just fell in love with that part of the process too.
Mm.
And then kind of the rest is history.
Fire. And so, obviously, you're a part of a crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking, and it's you were telling me it's a collective, and you guys,
Yeah.
prioritize your solo vibes, which I think is fire, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like we all acknowledge that we all are stars in our own right? And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like sometimes groups start off as a group and then they get popping and the limelight's on the group, and then
Yeah.
when people want to do their solo thing, now it's a problem, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
public eye has trouble accepting the solo act because they know you.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that like, being a part of a group like that where everyone kind of respects each other's?
Yeah, because for them, like, that's how it started, right? Everybody
Mm.
had their individual things and aspirations going on, and then decided to click up. And I came later in 2020. I believe they started Spillville in 2016 or so. And so they were already an established thing within themselves, but also bubbling on the individual or on the solo side of things too. So like, I think it works better that way because being able to combine all of our solo successes, talents, and essentially atmospheres that we build with our artistry and bring that together in totality is like incredible. As
Mm.
opposed to it started like this and now there's like some, or it started as a group and then now there's like some weird energy and then things start breaking off and you get, it's the age old story of groups, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's our greatest strength is that like we're strong individual solo artists
Mm.
who just so happen to be a group as well. And then you're like, really? And then you go and listen to everything. And it's like, it makes the most sense that way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun. I mean, working with them, I get mind blown just by like every little thing that like comes out of those sessions or whatever, those meetups. Everyone's just incredibly talented. So I just feel like the luckiest kind of person to be able to sit in rooms and create and build with like Mariba, Jid, Earth Gang, Black, like Jordan, JB. It's weird, because it doesn't seem like it's a real thing until next thing you know, you put your head up, you got 30 songs,
Mm.
and stuff like that. But it's fun. I really enjoy us as a unit. Like, it's really tight. It's really really tight.
That's fire, man. And you mentioned two names that, as a fan of music, right? Obviously, I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't a fan of music, right?
Yeah.
And if you're a fan of music, hit subscribe, man. Tap in with the Cut Different family and stop playing for real. We giving y'all some jewels and some game. We got Benji from Spillage Village in the building for real. You mentioned Black and Jid.
Mm-hmm.
Black is probably in my top 5
He's
artists,
incredible.
like all time.
He's incredible.
And Jid, I'm from North Carolina, so him being a part of Dreamville.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when he dropped Stick at Dreamville, and like it was crazy, and he
electric.
got the crowd involved. You know what I'm
That
saying?
was crazy.
You worked on Forever Story, right? What was that like? And then I'd love to, like, as a fan, I'd love to know what it's like working with an artist like Black too. It's kind of quiet and reserved.
Very very to himself. The Forever Story, that was a very interesting process for me, because like we had just come pretty much out of COVID. Like things are opening up again. We just finished the Spillville album, and I think we had at that time we probably already put it out. So next, I'm in Atlanta and I go to the studio for like a week with Jid because he's getting back to his album process. And every day was just like absurd with just some of the things that he would play, like some of his like references or some of his like unfinished like songs right here, just like seeing what direction he's going. And dude's like a mad scientist for real.
Sounds
Very,
like it.
very meticulous, very particular, crafty. Like he does not waste a second in any part of the process, from writing to the production. Like everything is very well crafted and intentional. But it was just like incredible being around like that kind of energy and atmosphere where the scientific slash like feeling of it all, the human side of it all too, like really gets celebrated in the creation process. So that was a lot of fun, and we ended up going down to Raleigh for about a week or two to work on it some more. That's when we like tightened up Cody Blue 31 that I played bass on in some production. And honestly, like just being able to be around an artist like that, like in album mode, right? Like we're not just going to the studio to kick it or just to like work on stuff. It's like this is a very specific time period and workplace. So it definitely like upped me as a producer, as a musician, as an artist, to be able to soak in that kind of game. And honestly, like be able to be serviceable as well, like with whatever, right? Like I wasn't in there like trying to find my way to drop some bars or anything like that, or like try and, work a feature in there or something like that. But like, I'm here to, if you need beats or if you need musicianship, if you need, bass, if you need extra vocal layers, like backgrounds and stuff, like I can be serviceable in any facet of the game. You know what I'm saying? So like being able to exist in that room because of that, and like kind of not like I fit in with the room as opposed to like take up space. And honestly, I would say that's probably my biggest strength. And it shined on that project because I sing a bunch of background vocals on that project. I got 2 production credits. Side note, the hook on Radar is me. If anybody, when it says It Rains, It Pours, that's me. But it's like being able to exist and work the room in that manner, like land you stuff like that in different places. So it was a great process. It's a great album. It's a phenomenal album. Happy to be a part of it. But yeah, that was like a good career milestone for me. I would
Definitely.
say that whole process.
And it sounds like you credit that in your ability to be, I like the word malleable or chameleon, right? Like
Yeah.
being a musical chameleon, right? Like I feel like the hat is kind of fitting with the chameleon vibe. But like that allows you to get into the rooms.
Yeah.
I've seen like clips all the time. There's this guy like Troy Taylor. I think have you heard of Troy Taylor?
Yep.
And he always says like, yo, like the artist, like if you're able to add value in multiple ways, never lead with like, yo, I'm an artist. When you walk in a room, because then they're just like, okay, you're just trying to like take from everything. So when you can walk in and add value, right? Like for those of you watching this, when you can walk in and add value in multiple different ways,
Right.
how does that, like, how do you manage those situations? Like, how do you find what role or what hat you need to wear in a certain vibe?
I'm gonna be honest, like it's not that kind of a decision more than it is like I just walk in a room and I'm Benji, like period. You know what I mean? And it's not like, okay, today I'm gonna walk in as producer Benji. I'm gonna walk in as, like, when you're really in the room, you feel it, and then you also know how to pull yourself back from taking value away or speaking up when you think something valuable could be added. And because I like can produce, so I can communicate with producers. I play, so I can communicate with musicians. I sing, I rap, I do everything within the studio that could be done. Essentially, you're just having a conversation to figure out like what's necessary. Because if it ain't nothing, then shoot. I'm not gonna. I'm just vibing. You know what I mean? Like if you don't need anything from me, no problem. You know what I mean? But getting to that part of the decision is still a conversation throughout the whole session. So it's not like, I'm pulling up with hard drives full of beats or pulling up with reference tracks or pulling up with my music that got empty space. It's just like I just walk in there as me, and that alone like allows me to just, keep everything very even, very cool and collected. And let me figure out what's necessary from there.
That's fire.
Yeah.
Let's get into you're dropping a project.
Yeah.
You feel me? It's the end of a trilogy, the end of a run.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about that trilogy and let's talk about that project.
Yeah. So we're dropping Love Gun 3 soon. It's the end of a beautiful trilogy of these EPs. It's been really fun, just like crafting them, and just putting music back out again. Just being able to like contribute to this musical ecosystem that we got going on. But yeah, I'm very excited about it. Very excited to end it as well, and then I can get to work on some other stuff. But yeah, the trilogy basically of just like my journal entries of life and love and clarity for the most part. And that's how we've been like pushing them along. So this third one is great. This third one is very happy. It's very like decisive, and I'm looking forward to everybody hearing it. So should be dope.
And so for people watching this that are seeing you for the first time, I'm sure there's people watching this interview right now like, who's this dude interviewing Benji, right? But for the people that are seeing you for the first time, what is a record or a project, right? Like Smile, You're Alive. That was your first project, your debut, right?
Yep.
Is that the one that you would say, all right, start here? Or is it not necessarily chronological? Have you put more of yourself as an artist into more project or different? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, I would say start there at Smile You're Alive, because that's raw, young energy that was there, at that time. Because let's say I might also say Love Gun 2, right, would be a very grown version of Smile You're Alive. And I say grown as a means of like growth and maturity, versus like I'm just older now and da da da. But like I think Smile You're Alive, you get the idea of who Benji is completely, and then you'll hear how consistent that is throughout the rest of the music that you hear from me. But yeah, on some real, yeah, like start with Smile You're Alive or Love Gun 2. And then if you start with Love Gun 2, go back to Smile You're Alive. Go Smile You're Alive, then go Love Gun 2.
Word.
Yeah. So you can jump there. You can skip Love Gun 1 and then go back.
He just gave you a rule and guide for the faith and practice of Benji.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying? So man, I wanna give you an opportunity to showcase like a super dope memory or a super dope experience that you've had, whether it be touring, whether it be, working with, a dope artist, you feel me, or just in your own musical, as an artist. Something super dope that's happened to you that maybe you haven't talked about before. Maybe a Cut Different exclusive.
Ooh. Honestly, I think a really dope memory. I don't think I've ever shared this story. Think, the producer. My very first tour opening for Earth Gang. In 2019, it was their Mirrorland tour, and I was opening. It was me, Guap Dad was another opener, and Duckworth was another one. And I can't remember what city we're in, but Bink walks on the bus. I'm looking at it, I'm like, ain't no way. And mind you, I got my set was probably about 20 minutes like later. So I'm just getting ready to head off. He walks on, and I'm like, nah, that's not him. It was. We sat and chatted for like 10, 15 minutes. He came out, watched my set. I come right back to the bus. He's on the bus, and he was just like, give me so much love, which is like what he saw. And like he told me it's only going to get more difficult from here, but you have all the makings and energy to surpass any difficulty. Just from what he saw. Like, I think my set was only 25 minutes or something like that. My very first tour. And so that always stuck with me. And I kind of used that to keep pushing through over the years since then. I think another one. This is probably my favorite one. I don't think I've shared this story much outside of like the people who were there. So I'm in LA, same tour, and we have a day off. So I go meet with my homie Gianni. He's a DJ out there. Went to college with him, and he takes me over to this guy's house, Doug Gibbs. Doug Gibbs is a legend. He Song Cry by Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. That sample is Doug Gibbs. So I go to his house. I walk in, and ironically enough, the first plaque that I see is that one. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, cool. Sit down. I'm playing him some music or whatever, and he's like blown away. He's an old guy, you know, and he passed about a year ago, I believe. So rest in peace to him. But playing him a bunch of music, giving him my story and whatnot, and he's just like absolutely blown away. And then, you know, he said one of the craziest things. He said, you know, I'm almost out of here, right? He's an older guy. He's like, I'm almost out of here. He said, but I want to go out meeting you. I was like, that's insane, first off. And for all the accolades that he's got quietly, right? For everybody that sampled that song, I think Drake was the latest one to do it and whatnot. But like, for a guy like that of his caliber, he's like best friends with Earth, Wind, and Fire and stuff. He's been around. He's a veteran, right? A literal industry veteran, very accomplished and decorated. For him to say that to me, where I feel like I'm still really just finding my way, and somebody like him is like, nah, I want to go out meeting people like you, meeting you specifically. And honestly, ever since then, it's like I've worn that like right on my heart, and just like, okay, there's something within me that like definitely like has to, you know, come out more if somebody like him can recognize something in me that's like transcendent of special. But yeah, that was a super crazy moment. And I got to see him before he died. I did get to see him before he died. But that was an incredible story. Honestly, just of his life, but then like he's like the most unsuspecting person you would ever think would have plaques hanging on his wall. You know what I'm saying? It's very low, under the radar guy. And he's just like, nah, you're gonna be super. That's what he said. I recorded that conversation somewhere, so I gotta go find it.
Oh, that's fine.
But yeah, so I gave you 2 stories.
That's sick, man. I appreciate it. Whoa, yeah, hell yeah. I hope y'all learned something, man, and got the Cut Different exclusive. That's fire. So it sounds like Bink came on the bus and told you that something was different about you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like something like cut different about you. You feel me?
Yeah.
What would you say makes you cut different, Benji?
Honestly, I'm cut different just because that's just how I'm made up. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm all of me, like at all times. And it allows me to be in rooms, places, hold things, see things, experience things that like not everybody will have the privilege and luxury of experiencing. But I do because I'm me. And that's not an ego thing. It's not an ego trip. That's really not even just confidence. That's just the realization of fact. And the more that I get to express who I am, you know, the more I think everybody else will see just how different they're cut to. If that makes sense.
Hell yeah, it makes sense.
There's a gem for you.
I appreciate that, man. And I appreciate you coming on.
Yes,
and I appreciate y'all for watching another episode of Cut Different TV, man. And where are you about to be on tour? I mean, where can they find you at? I think we in October, you know what I'm saying? What's going on?
Shoot. Just get ready for Love Gun 3 to come out. October. I know I got some shows in LA, San Francisco, opening for Greek. Man, Honestly, I'm everywhere. Social media, Avatar Benji, on all DSPs, Benji with a period. Don't forget that, it's very important. And shoot, you find me somewhere. Just look for a weird hat.
I'm dead, man. Well, we appreciate you, Benji. Appreciate the
you.
team. And shit, you tapped into another episode of Cut Different TV. I go by the name of Sebastian Ryder. I'm here with the one and only
Benji with a period. Don't forget that, it's very important.